Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming, and more oxygen not included in the Frigid Ant Farm with the thermal upgrade patch, which I believe is due to be released officially very soon. So for those of you guys who did not opt into the beta like I did, well, good news is you should be getting it pretty soon, should be fun, and hopefully you guys have learned a few things from either me or other YouTubers about how to manage your heat properly. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and re-enable up our coal generator. Now, we do need to be careful because what I have found here is that we are reaching a point where our power grid is starting to feel the strain. Just a little bit, once in a while. It seems to be doing okay for the moment anyway, but it's been occasionally giving me a warning that it's starting to strain up. So we may be pulling about as much wattage over our current wires as we are able to, before we'll need to switch over to using a heavy watt wire, which is not something I'm really eager to do. That's going to cost me a lot of copper. So I may want to get smart with my circuits and kind of break things up, having, let's say, a coal generator that goes into a couple of batteries that will act as capacitors, and then go just the electrolyzers, and then a path that goes just down to all this stuff. Maybe that will work, or maybe it won't. I actually am not too sure if the electrical systems in this game are smart or not, as far as using these batteries as capacitors. Right? If all the energy is coming from my coal generators, I want it to go to my batteries, and then I want the batteries to be holding the charge, and then to release that charge as necessary for my electronics. But I don't want the generator to go directly to the electronics. I don't know if that makes any sense. But I suspect that the batteries act as if they are in some sort of a parallel circuit, rather than in series. So I'm not sure how that's going to work or not, but it's something we'll have to deal with relatively soon. Hopefully not now, but soon-ish. In the meantime, our electrolyzers are doing their job. I took a bit of time in between videos to carve this entire area out and build it up, so that we can build up a platform and start getting some hydrogen power going if we want it. But first, before we do that, one thing we need to research is advanced filtration. Now, why do we need advanced filtration? Because they made a change to the hydrogen generator where it will break if you pump anything other than hydrogen into it, which makes sense. It used to be that the gas pump, if it was hooked up to the hydrogen generator, would only pump if it had some hydrogen nearby. But that may no longer be the case. So, we're going to want to get together some filtering systems just to make sure that we don't put any polluted oxygen or regular oxygen or anything inside that system. No point in building a hydrogen generator if it's just going to break on us. The other thing that I'm doing right now is I'm also digging out a new reservoir. Whoa, what are you... Why is she hurt? Or is she hurt? She had the little red health bar. It certainly seemed like she was. That's weird. One thing I am doing is building out a new reservoir, and this is going to contain some of our contaminated water. Getting kind of low on our reserves over here from the melted ice. Could, you know, speed that up and melt some more ice, but that's certainly there. And we also have a lot of pools of polluted water that we want to use at some point relatively soon. So we're going to need a place to store some of that stuff, kind of building on the mistakes I made from last time with the manual airlocks and stuff like that. And on top of all of this, though, what I'm going to work on in this particular video is I'm going to use this contaminated water and stuff. We're going to set up our first proper bathroom system. We're going to have a lavatory, and we're going to have a shower. Eventually, we'll want to convert that contaminated water into something useful, either like regular water or perhaps some fertilizer. I am also going to try building out the textile factory today. So those are my two agenda items. Get a fully functioning bathroom, shower, toilet, everything, and also get the textiles set up. Because next video, what I want to do, once all this stuff is figured out, is start focusing my efforts on building out a massive steam chamber around these geysers. And that's going to take a lot of time, so we need to make sure all of our ducks are in a row first. But that's the agenda today. So, let's get to it. One thing I'm going to change up as well is I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of the last of this meal wood. And actually, no, don't automatically replant these things. I would rather you didn't do that. But, no, I want to go ahead and place these all with bristle blossoms. At this point, I think that bristle blossoms are a pretty effective food source, and I would think we have enough seeds. Yeah, we got 35 seeds, so let's go ahead and plant a bunch of those, and that way, we will have a food source that no longer requires the water and the heat of the microbe musher. This supercomputer gets way, way too hot, in my opinion. I think this might be a bit of a problem, kind of like the coal generator. It certainly seems like the only way to actually get the supercomputer to work the way you want it to. Forget the heatsink stuff I have been talking about. You need to include this in an ice biome like the coal generator, and or you need to start dripping some water on the floor. I feel like that's the only way in order to make the supercomputer work, and that's no fun. I mean, heck, look at this thing. The whole point is that it's liquid cooled. I mean, I get that it generates a lot of heat, but ouch! It's too much, man. Too much. Okay, so the reservoir is done. We're going to clean this thing out, but now what we need to do is start plumbing things up and have an outlet here. And I am going to place a couple tiles so that people are able to kind of hop along as needed. There we go. Yeah, so let's go ahead and place out an exhaust vent, or liquid vent, right here. And we're going to probably place our toilets and stuff right over here. So I'm going to include a shower, which will place, I don't know, let's say there. And a lavatory, let's say right there. Yeah, there's a lot of space in between them. It's fine. Let's go to the liquid piping. Get some igneous rock. This is going to be our outlet for both the shower and the lavatory, both of which produce the contaminated water. So, make sure that they hook up to this piping. And then we're going to have... I guess we'll have to go this way. Let's go ahead and do this piping kind of like so. And some piping kind of like so. It's not the prettiest, most efficient looking thing I've ever seen, but... what are you going to do? Should work fine. Let's go ahead and build that up. You know what I actually could do if I'm having so much trouble with this supercomputer is I could unhook it from the main power grid and add a thermo switch so that it turns off automatically if it seems to be getting too hot. That's not even a bad idea, really. If we go to this power stuff, deconstruct some wires, like so, and we just like put a thermal switch, let's say right here, based on ambient heat. Yeah, that's not actually a bad idea, and then we can hook it up this way. Well, let's build the switch first and actually see what happens with this thing. We don't want it to impact anything else. Just because a supercomputer gets hot does not mean I want it to turn off the micro musher and everything else, but it certainly could be useful to turn off the supercomputer. So if we build this thing up, okay, and how does this work? Can we run through a tile? No, wait, that's electrical wire. Hang on. Thermo switch automates switching power grids on or off based on ambient heat. So do I run it through like this? Is that how that works? Possibly. Hey, it's worth an experiment, right? If I can get a system going for the supercomputer where it automatically turns off and I don't have to like baby this thing and watch it, turning it off manually every time, that could be a good thing. We'll just starve it of power until it gets, you know, properly cold. What are you guys doing right now? Are you delivering freaking slime again? Oh, good lord. Where are you even getting all the slime? Nobody knows. What are we missing? One more power? Cable? No power. What do you mean, no power? Should be connected, yes? Or is this another one of those stupid bugs where if you turn off the input, you have to deconstruct the dang thing? Is that what's going on? Or is it because I haven't set up the thermo switch? Hang on. Activate the thermal power switch if you are colder than what's considered to be scorching. Well, right now it's 33 degrees Celsius. The air around it's like 26. So let's do, let's say, 36.9. And yes, that does turn it back on. Huh. Alright, let's go ahead and re-enable the building. And she should be able to do her research. And if we watch the temperature, we're going to see it's going to pick up temperature very rapidly. Wait, did you finish the tech or did it turn off? Nope, still have more research to go on that. So do you no longer have power? Or is someone else going to do the research? Someone got trench stench. Oh, goody. Nadia stood in a toxic area for too long, and oh gosh, she looks horrible. Oh, Nadia, I'm so sorry. Well, hopefully you don't infect anybody else, but you probably will. Hey, look, it's got a little diode. So the green, I would assume, means that it's got power? So who's gonna go back to researching then? I'm gonna reset this back to a level 6 priority. Well, I guess we have to wait until the next day. Oh, good. Our showers and stuff have been hooked up. What's not built? Hang on. Plumbing. Nope, it's all here. Water's been delivered. And we are placing polluted water. Okay, so it does seem that these are now functioning. Good. Now, the one cool thing about the lavatories here is that what people have been noticing is that they actually produce more polluted water than the clean water that they take in. Now, that makes some sense, right? People take a pee, take a poo. They're, the mass, right? The liquid and the well, the poo, the mass, goes along with it. So it actually should increase in mass slightly. We'll just need to have a way to filter it later, and otherwise, we will be golden. Okay, there we go. Now Marie's turning it back on. So the question then is... Circuit status, 290 watts. Circuit status? Is that true? Because this thing shouldn't be pulling that much power, only 120. Not 400. I think that's taking into account all the electronics in this entire circuit that are active. Which is unfortunate, but alright. So how are we looking as far as our temperature? It is getting quite hot. Not quite at the level where it's scalding. What are you doing? Who are you? Bert? Did I say you could do research? Oh. Yeah, I did. We need to make sure that Harold, however, does not do this stuff. For some reason, I thought that Harold was our new scientist, but he's not. Alright. So it's getting quite hot here. I'm going to watch to see at what point they start complaining that they're scalding. Because that's the temperature that we want to set this thing to. So still getting quite hot. Scorching hot now. Everything around it's getting hot. Okay, now he's complaining. The temperature here is, it says 28.7. The air around it, 38, 39, 39. But the thermal switch is much colder. The ambient air here is 30. So let's go ahead and say anything below 26. And now it automatically turns it off. That seems reasonable enough. So yeah, until this thing cools down enough to the point where it gets below 26 degrees, this thing will be off, and it can no longer overheat, and it never needs repairs. Brilliant! Okay, why are you guys only gathering slime? What do I do with slime here, guys? The storage compactor is set to a 5. It's not a high priority. Make it a 4. Stop delivering slime. I don't understand why they're doing this. I really don't want them to. Oh, and she passed out in the poo room. Well, that's smart. They're still gathering slime, aren't they? They are. They're gathering slime from the puffs, as if somehow those guys are, like, a high priority. Also, she stinks, apparently. She really could use a shower. No. Seriously, you guys need to stop doing the slime. Stop it. Stop it. I don't want slime. Alright, that's it. I'm gonna tell this thing not to accept slime anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. No more slime. Stop gathering it. I don't know why they're prioritizing that. I think that they're prioritizing picking up after the puffs. Which would make sense. If you had a puffed in your base, you do want to clean up that slime rather rapidly, but at least for right now, that's proving to be somewhat counterproductive, isn't it? What's going on here? Toasty environment. Ooh. It's getting too warm here, apparently, for these poor little bristle blossoms. It's probably because of the stupid supercomputer, isn't it? If I had to guess, yes, that's exactly what the problem is. These showers actually take a very long time. I think I might want to place a second one of these. I don't think it's going to hurt too much. I mean, yeah, it could consume a little bit more water and all that, but shouldn't be too bad, right? I think we have a lot of water, and I think we'll have the means to make more water once we get the steam generation going. So yeah, let's go ahead and put together a second shower, because yeah, you can see here, it just takes forever. Whenever these guys step in polluted water and get all grimy and need to clean off, I'd rather they're able to do so sooner rather than later. You know what? We've been generating a pretty substantial amount of hydrogen that's kind of building up in this area. I think we probably should go ahead and start turning it into something useful, don't you think? So all we need to do then is we're going to make sure that the supercomputer gets one more little bout of research. We're so close to being done. And then before I build the textile factory, I'm just going to go ahead and start getting a basic hydrogen generation farm ready to go. And hopefully that solves some problems, kind of frees up some more space for some useful oxygen before people start to suffocate as they pass through this area. By the way, if you didn't know, hydrogen is considered to be pretty cold. I mean, temperature-wise, this stuff is fine, but kind of like stepping in water, hydrogen seems to pull heat away from you. So anytime they're acting in this area, they feel very cold, even though the temperature of the hydrogen is pretty good. Not too sure why that is. Maybe there's a good physical reason for it, and I don't know enough about the properties of hydrogen, but there you go. That appears to be what's going on. Oh, the research is finally done. Okay. So I'm not going to do any more research for a while, just because the supercomputer is proving to be a problem. I mean, yeah, the thermoregulator switch is definitely doing its job to protect people, but it's also kind of annoying because they're able to get like 5 seconds of research in, and then it has to turn off on its own. So, I don't know. Solves one problem, but it's still incredibly inefficient, and I wish there was a better way to cool the supercomputer. Shy of, you know, leaving a pool of water on the floor, which is what worked really well for us in the past. I would actually go ahead and say that that's something that I hope they change in the game at some point, because, well, it makes sense that that would work. I don't feel like that should be necessary. It's not like I've trapped this in a tiny space. You know, it's got walls nearby, but the gas-permeable tiles should allow cold water from down here the cold air from down here to carry away most of the heat. It's not like the air is trapped and it's just kind of in this cycle of staying too hot and smothering itself. No, it should be open enough that we shouldn't have any problems with the supercomputer. So the fact that it's getting this hot seems very reminiscent of the cold generator and just how fast it heated up. I don't know if it's considered a bug or not, but I don't like it, and I hope they change it in the future. Okay, we built a platform out of gas-permeable tiles here, because eventually I will be digging this entire area out, and we won't want to have the hydrogen kind of flow up to the top. So let's go ahead and start prepping up some hydrogen generators. We're going to go to the oxygen thing here. No, we're not. We did just unlock the air scrubber, though, which means if we wanted to, we actually could get rid of the algae terrariums and start filtering out carbon dioxide for far less water than the algae terrariums currently consume. But that might be a project for another day. Let's instead go to plumbing, and we are going to have a gas pump up here, right at the very, very top. And I'm going to go to power and place a hydrogen generator, let's just say right here for now. And also a battery or two, probably. Kind of like this. Now what we'll do then is we want to get some filtering systems. So if I take, let's say, a gas filter, and place it, whoops, like that. Take the gas filter, build it out of copper, rotate it around, sort of like this, I think? Sure. And we'll take some gas piping, run it down here to the inlet. This will be our filtered out hydrogen, which we will run to the oxygen generator. And this, I think we will probably want to run. Anytime that oxygen or something else gets up here that we don't want, I'm probably going to want to filter it back down to the base, if I had to guess. So we'll go ahead and place it kind of like this. It's a long path, I'm aware. Maybe we'll do this. Put it here, put a gas vent, and that way, anything that shouldn't be anything other than hydrogen gets out of the area, clears the space up, and goes back down to the base where it can be more easily used. Seems reasonable to me. Now, do we care about gas valves and stuff in order to maintain ideal pressures? I'm not sure if, I mean, if the gas valves are anything like these liquid valves, I'm not sure that they do anything. So do we care, or is that a good way to actually try and prevent too much hydrogen from going into the system? I guess we'll pay attention to it and just kind of see. In the meantime, let's also hook up some power. Kind of like this, like this. That requires power, apparently. And of course, this is going to require some power. There we go. We'll need to get a little bit of power into this area just to kind of jump-start the system, and we might want to consider putting in a hamster wheel nearby. That would certainly be an option for us. And if that is the case, let's go ahead and prepare to dig out a bit more space, kind of like this. And place gas-permeable tiles along here so the gas is able to rise. Dig this entire area out. Well, okay, hang on. Cancel all this. I actually wanted to make it 4 deep. Miscalculated. My bad. Hang on. Doop-a-doop-doop-a-doop-doop. Place like so. And there we go. Okay. Something kind of like that. And if we could dig the rest of this out, I'd love to, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to. Okay, so while they're setting all of this stuff up, let's go to our gas filter here, and the elements that we want to filter out specifically is going to be hydrogen. Okay. So that way, whatever this gas pump puts in, hydrogen will come through this pipe. Anything other than that will end up going all the way down here to this gas vent, which appears they've already put together, so that's cool. Apparently we're building this gas conduits out of obsidian. That's probably fine. It's not like I'm using obsidian for pretty much anything else, but we do need to be careful that we don't run out, because I never have a lot of obsidian, so if I can't build this stuff, it's probably because I ran out of materials. Okay, so the system is all hooked up at this point. The only thing we are missing is power. Now, they're going to dig this entire area out with more gas-permeable tiles. I'm just placing these tiles here temporarily so we can access the rest of this, so we can have free space for the air to flow. But one thing we can do right now is go ahead and hook up a manual generator. And, of course, get a little bit of electrical wire. This doesn't have to be anything fancy. We just want to jump-start the system. So let's go ahead and prioritize all this stuff. Make sure that they do it quickly so we can test the system out and see how much power we can generate. Okay, the generator is built. Let's go ahead and set it to a priority 9 for now. That way somebody gets onto it. There we go. All right, the system is now on. That's all we care about. I'm going to go ahead and set it back down to a 5. Let's slow down time and see what happens here. So we're sucking up a bunch of hydrogen. That should be coming through here now. If I go to the gas pumping overlay, you can see the hydrogen coming down here and getting filtered like so. It's going to go into the hydrogen generator. We have a packet of only 375 grams of hydrogen. It's not a lot. Hydrogen is a very low density material. In fact, it's hydrogen. It's the lowest number on the periodic table. But anyway. All right, so the hydrogen generator is now working. We should be filling up this reserve canister over time, and we're producing some power. It's actually producing a pretty substantial amount of power, to the point where I think this thing is sustainable as long as it has a constant supply of hydrogen. Well, that's pretty cool. All right, so we'll have this extra set of hydrogen ready to go. I'm not sure what to do with this circuit yet, but we are producing... Oh, wait, get off the generator. Hang on, disable. You're throwing off my numbers. It looks like we're generating more power than we actually are. Turn off the thing. Okay. Now that we aren't accidentally running the hamster wheel, let's pay attention to this. So right now we have 11.4 kilojoules in this battery. That's going up by about 100 joules per second. Maybe a little bit faster than that. That's not bad. We're definitely gaining more energy than we're losing in this circuit. So yeah, as long as we have enough hydrogen to keep this running permanently, this is now a self-sustaining circuit. It will run indefinitely until it gets too full. So we're going to need to find a way to use up this power, but good. This is working exactly the way I wanted it to. Nice. Of course, the real question now is what happens when it reaches capacity with these batteries? Does it automatically turn off? And the answer appears to be a resounding no. It does not automatically turn off. So now we're just wasting power and energy and throwing it into the ether, which is not something we want to do. So, come morning, I think we need to turn this thing off. And until we find a use for this power, we'll just let it sit here. But the system works, which is great. You know, one thing that's interesting here is it looks like these regular batteries are not actually losing any charge. Huh. I mean, it seemed to imply here that batteries do store most of the runoff power and lose charge over time, but I'm looking at the joules, the energy, the electrical energy that's contained within these batteries, and it's not going down. Huh. Well, that is interesting, isn't it? It certainly would appear that we have a permanent storage of these batteries, of this energy, at least for the time being, which is pretty cool. We have a lot of contaminated air down here. We really need to clean this stuff out pretty soon. What can we do on that front? We could place an air deodorizer, and that would filter out the polluted oxygen. Certainly not a bad option here. We're doing okay on our concentration of oxygen. It's really high over here, which is not quite what I would have had in mind, but yeah, I think we need to place some like air deodorizers and stuff, at least for the time being. Let's place one right around the toilets and stuff, because you imagine that's going to get pretty stinky. And we can also place one right over here, because we know that our fertilizer stuff is releasing quite a bit in here. We'll also place one right here. There we go. And it's going to take sand in order to do this. They don't require power. They'll run on their own, but they use sand to filter the air out, turn it into clean oxygen again. We should see this thing working on its own here. Well, pretty soon. Oh, there we go. We've delivered the sand. Okay, so now it's working. It's just sucking in all the contaminated oxygen, turning it into something clean. Make sure that nothing gets out of here. One thing I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to place a mechanized airlock instead of a manual one. Yeah, it'll consume a little power every time you use it, but the idea here is we want this thing to open and close quickly so less of the polluted oxygen is able to get away. So that's what we'll go ahead and do. Of course they're going to go to sleep before they finish the door. So now, all this stuff's able to get out. Good thing I put an air deodorizer, I guess. That actually has done a lot already just to kind of clear the area up. You can see here how fast, even in this enclosed space, it's working. So it uses up a bit of sand and all that, but it works pretty effectively at getting rid of contaminated oxygen. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, now before we end up this video, one thing I did say we were going to do today is we are going to hook up a textile factory and see how that stuff works, right? So, let's go to, not refinement stations, there it is, textile factory. It's not a massive thing. We could place it up here. I guess we could hook it up to the hydrogen system and give us, like, something to do with the power. I don't know, maybe we want to save some of this area for farming and stuff. You know what, alright, let's go ahead and place a textile factory somewhere up here. How's the temperature looking, by the way? Pretty good. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and place that. And let's see what we're able to build with this thing, because I'm kind of curious. Okay, Textile Factory is now hooked up. Let's see what we can build. We can build snazzy suits. Increases the decor in a small area effect around the wearer. So wherever I go, I'm looking so fabulous that everyone's just happy. Is that right? Wow, 30 decor. Holy crap. Conductivity barrier? Conductivity? You mean thermal or electrical? Can these guys get zapped by touching open wires or something? Actually, never seen that happen, but maybe. Cool vest. Protects the wearer from heat by decreasing insulation. Okay, reduces decor to wear this thing, though. Apparently they're ugly. And then warm sweaters. Protects the wearers from cold by increasing insulation. Huh. I think this is thermal conductivity. Like, just heat retention. So cool vests have, like, no retention at all. So you just lose all your heat pretty quickly. Snazzy suits retain a little bit. Warm retain a lot. That's what I would guess. Oh, I get it. Okay, so yeah, this literally is talking about how much insulation there is. That's 1 centimeter of insulated material inside of this warm sweater. Fascinating. Now here's the question I have about the cool vests and the warm sweaters, though. Do people, like, automatically put these on before they go into, let's say, extremely cold or extremely hot environments? Because otherwise, what happens if somebody puts on, like, a warm sweater? Let's say I assign Harold a warm sweater. He puts this on, and I intend on him working in these areas in the cold stuff and the ice, and that's great for him. Cool, all right, fine. But he's still wearing it when he goes into a hot place? Like down over here? Or what about the geysers? What about by the supercomputer? Is he going to overheat because of that? What's the point of these? Are they smart enough to take them off when they are unnecessary, and to put them on when they're going somewhere that's cold or hot? I don't know. Whereas snazzy suits appear to be functional, like, all the time. Let's go ahead and fabricate up at least a couple of these. I know that we have some reed fiber. Can we see what that is? Organic? Nope. Raw mineral, alloy. Apparently we have 400 kilograms of steel door do not translate, by the way. That's fun. Where would be my reeds? I have no idea. Oh, wait, there it is. For whatever reason, industrial ingredient is considered 0, even though we do have 10 reed fibers. So we're able to fabricate at least 2 of these snazzy suits, which will increase the decor wherever we go. Could be kind of useful. I mean, we'll find out. That's weird. It's saying it's lacking enough reed fiber, but it's definitely starting to do something now. Well, that's kind of weird looking. It's like a spider spinning silk around a little mannequin. Huh. Takes a long time, but I guess eventually we will be able to build some snazzy suits and have someone wear them, and they're going to look so glam, everyone just can barely stand it. You know, something weird is it doesn't look to me like these hatches are actually eating anything out of the storage compactors. Did they patch that? Did they change it so they can't actually eat anything in a storage compactor? If that's the case, then these hatches are now worthless to me. Well, I mean, no, not necessarily. What happens if I deconstruct this thing? Does everything just fall on the floor? It does. That's a whole bunch of materials for them to eat, as long as we never sweep it up. Maybe they're set for life. I don't know. Seems a little bit bizarre. By the way, I did plant some more bristle blossoms, and they're stifling because apparently it's a little bit too hot over here now, so... Great, I'm gonna have to think of ways to start cooling these environments off. But we did finish off our first snazzy suit, and it looks like we do have to assign it to somebody. Marie, put it on. Ka-ding! Ooh! It's glittery! She's got a shiny suit. And if you look at decor... Oops. Well, it doesn't seem to be enough to override the just pure ugliness of this entire place, but... I mean, in theory, now she's so glam. I don't know. Just total fabulous and all that stuff. Well, I'm not really too sure how much I want to trust these textile factories, honestly. Cool vests, warm sweaters, great idea in theory, but what I'm concerned about is that people will wear the wrong ones at the wrong time and as a result get themselves killed or overheating in some sort of a way. That scares me a little. Maybe I'm just being paranoid, but I think I deserve it at this point, don't you? Yeah, I don't know. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this video up here, though. Thank you all very much for watching. I do hope that you have enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think we should be doing in the future. I will be doing more videos of this in the future. Since we finished up our EU4 series, I can't afford to do some daily videos on this, so I'll try to delay a little bit to kind of catch up with your comments, but otherwise, I think what we do next is start building up a steam room and see if we can get an unlimited source of water. So, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.